Okay, here we are after your first lesson. And we are going to make a couple different videos probably. Or I might direct you to a video about bar chords. First and foremost, as we discussed during your lesson, I want you to work through this material in small sections, finishing as you go, making a clear distinction between your memorization headspace, where you're hyper-focused and myopic, and don't always start at the beginning. If you're working on section 3, you don't play the first 2 to be allowed to play it, and so forth. Then switching to the feel, now I'm playing headspace. We use the dance steps versus dancing analogy when we actually discussed that. So, with that in mind, I believe this will follow your syllabus on the back side of your page. First, we talked about right hand technique, and having your thumb parallel to the string, and these 3 fingers curled, not in this juxtaposition where your thumb and index might run into each other or desperately close to each other. So, maybe just try striking some of your fingers, make sure you're hitting all of them. If you notice one of them doesn't want to cooperate, key in on that one. Do not turn this into a song that goes, I'm hitting notes and it's in rhythm and stuff, because then that's going to be counterproductive. We're just, the point is to zero in on this and show yourself how to do it. Cool. Note names. We have keyed in on learning the names of the open strings, where during the lesson, I think it was only the D string that you spaced, the 4th string. So go ahead and, pause your video, work on finger style a little bit, and you can just do like the first riff from the first song ever, whatever's something you already really know how to play finger style wise, or just pick a chord and mess around, anything like that. It's all good. So now you've restarted your video. Note names: 3rd fret, the country guitar, the province of 3rd fret, G, C, C, G. Process them in both orders. Right now go C, G, then G, C. Cool. And again, try not to overthink this part. It's the assigning names to dots. If 4 of my friends walked in, you would probably get 100 on their names test right off the bat, as long as none of them had an obscure name. And none of these are obscure names. The country of guitar has the province of 5th fret, where we've got A and D, which makes sense if I'm tuning my A string or my D string. Great. So now please just pause the video and give yourself a 4-note randomized geography test. How hard can it be to learn 4 total? Not that hard unless you turn it into I'll find C by thinking about G. If you want, you can just write down C, G, D, A on a piece of paper, tear it up, make super mock flashcards. If you did that, you'd knock it out really fast. So do a simulation of that in your head. Please pause and do that. And then we're adding the 7th fret, B and D, E and B, B and E, E and B. And if we'd done all 6 of those notes in the same dosage, it would have been more difficult than breaking it into the sections that we just did, and you mastered this part before you even included this other bit. So go ahead and just now, think about the 7th fret some, and now give yourself a 9-note geography test. Sorry, a 6-note geography test, just G and C. Or I'm going to go backwards. E and B, D and A, C and G. Really easy to train oneself to be the person who can go G and C, A and D, but then you have to go G and C, A to be allowed to pick about D, like you've been doing counting up and stuff. So go home and just kill that geography test. Please pause your video and do that. Cool. So how do I play every chord everywhere? Bar chords. There are 2 kinds. There are E-shaped bar chords, where I'm a human capo, and I'm playing E major. Or I'm a human capo and I'm playing E minor, which just feels like no middle finger. E minor's this one. So here's an E minor chord. This is G. Here's a G minor chord. Here's an E major chord. This is G. Here's a G major chord. Aside, we talked about not playing G like this, but like this. It should feel like a reach, etc. But we all had that same experience. It's all good. Generally speaking, you just want to use adjacent fingers to play chords for the same reason you wouldn't play E this way or something, Cool. So there we are. So a G bar chord, a G minor bar chord. Cool. So it turned out that A minor is a chord that you didn't just snap. No, it's like C is really similar. Down the bottom of your page, we've got A minor, not A major, that you do this way. It's like straight across, but A minor. Cool. And a potentially brain fart generating concept, I don't know a better word for it, is that E major and A minor are the same shape. Once we start adding the second string, all bets are off. Moving things laterally and up and down works. Power chords, for instance. But then, once the second string gets involved, that's no longer the case. If that didn't make sense, it doesn't matter. So those are the four shapes. There's E and E minor, where the root note's on this string. And then there's the A-shaped chords where we sort of pretend there's no sixth string. So this is C. This is a C major chord. Sure enough, it sounds right. And unlike C major, C minor, there's no first position way to play it that actually sounds okay. So that's just C minor across the board. And again, just troubleshooting, you might be tempted to go, isn't this minor? That was on these strings. So again, just don't take on too large of a section there. Just go E-shaped chords, A-shaped chords. And this entire thing revolves around the principle that if we don't add open strings, moving anything side to side laterally sounds the same, whether it's a power chord, a full chord, or a series of notes. That's the nature of our instrument. Cool. So there's that. And let me just see where my counter is on this video. Yeah, that should be fine. So pause your video and interact with that. You're doing a really good job of fretting this chord, which is the highest degree of difficulty one, the A major shape. So props, the rest is just repetitions of, oh yeah, it's this chord. And theoretically, you can figure out how to play any chord now, if you've already learned the note names. So you might just pull a couple out of your subconscious, just be like, okay, I'm gonna play A sharp minor. Just be like, okay, A sharp minor. And that might have been a little confusing because I used A when our A-shaped bar. So G sharp minor, do over G sharp minor, like that. The other thing we discussed is the major scale, which we introduced this trick you can use to get yourself into classical hand position, which is 4 fingers over 4 frets on the bass string. We don't hold the instrument up over here. It's our right hand that keeps it situated. So we should let go and nothing happens. Anyway, so there we are, and that's the position we need to be in for bar chords and things like the major scale that we're about to learn. We all talked about how there's no seesaw. Now what I don't want you to do is immediately go like this. You're going to do that, but let's go for one good focused attempt, not worrying about rhythm when you're introducing it. It's not a song that goes like this, that's fine. Totally eliminate the concept rhythm and show yourself how to do that. Please pause the video, just interact with that. Now introduce the note names, just getting your bearings. This is G, this is A from our geography test. This is B, which I think you already know from certain contexts, it seemed like. This is, or either way, B. This is C and D. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4th, and 5th, which will be important when we start talking about what chords are in the key. 6, 7, 8, E, F sharp, G, or G flat, F sharp, same rhyme, same chord, same note. Cool, so just get down that hand movement. I'm only using my hand because I'm going back and forth between writing, and I want you to be using a pick at this point for any kind of single note playing stuff until there's some reason to deviate, like you're playing hybrid finger style crazy stuff. Great, so go ahead and just learn that hand movement. And now we're going to relate that to what chords are in the key of G. And we can play a lot of them in first position. So again, everything's going to be minor except for 1, 4, 5. So G and A minor, B, C, D, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, G flat minor, or F sharp minor, same note, same name, G. So boom, 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 boom. And you could also try doing it all with bar chords, just be like, if you wanted. That's extraneous. And then so cool, so just stop, work on that, internalize it. You're looking to memorize which chords those are. Maybe try some strumming patterns that include those different chords. Either way, we're just taking our first step towards understanding what chords are in a key, and that it all revolves around this, or that you can figure it out using that shape. And your assignment is to do the C major scale, which is going to be, just pretend there's no sixth string, and do the same exact thing you were just doing. So it'd be like starting with C major, D minor, and go ahead and fill that in with no sense of any set time frame you're supposed to finish in. Cool. I believe that's what we did. Yeah, there it is. There she goes. Really essential that you work on this in little sections. Again, if you're feeling overwhelmed at all right now, it's because you got to this point in the video prematurely. If you're on my YouTube, you can go to the playlist Sample Lessons and watch the one called, Common Myths and Misunderstandings about guitar playing, and also a little discussion of how to approach guitar, the soloing and scales, which, like we talked about, is something that we're going to organically get to a point where you need to understand it. It's more important for you to build your playing skill set right now. Because even if you were the person who could play every scale everywhere, it would greatly add to what you got out of songs you learned, but you would still have to learn how to play. So since you're not playing classical guitar, and it's not engineering, we're psyched just to have made this huge step forward with all these linear short-term projects that are huge steps towards you understanding the big picture. And this is a long-term project with no done. You'll never get too good at guitar. You'll never beat guitar. So yeah, man, this is what I do. I'm a quarterback you through the whole thing. It was really wonderful to meet you. And I will see you next Saturday at 1 p.m. Cheers.